Are you letting it hold you back? Are you on a path that you're trying to develop yourself? You're trying to take gifts and skills and traits, things that are innate to you, and try to enhance them to become superpowers that you can give out into the world and utilize to provide value to the right people, but there's something holding you back. And you probably have felt it. I know in my time I've felt it plenty of times. It's fear. Now, fear comes in many shapes and sizes. Oftentimes I'll talk about things like imposter syndrome and not feeling like you're in the right place, or it could be a stage fright or whatever it may be. What I can tell you is that fear is showing that you are on the right path. Something like an imposter syndrome, for example, that basically happens when you're putting yourself into new environments, into new places, and trying new things. What a crazy concept on this path to growth, that we would put ourselves out there, that we would take these things that we're learning and developing and try to find the ways that we could work them out there into different groups. Now, that can show up many different ways, and fear may be different for you. It may not be an imposter syndrome, it may be something else. But fear is one of the biggest things that I see holding people back. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, things that you could do that kind of help to shift that and look at ways to overcome those fears. Now, I'm not an expert on this topic. These are things that I've just seen work for myself and for others as I've developed this idea of the GIVER method and how to become an impact maker. All right? So the first one, we've got to actually identify the fear. We've got to sit down, we've got to list out whatever that may be. Now, typically it's going to relate to something that you're doing different, something that is happening around you. So, in the instance I like to talk about a lot is if you're looking to take your gifts and skills and turn them into superpowers and use them on people to influence them, to provide them value, well, that's going to cause fear to start to come out. So what is it? What does it make you feel? How does it show up for you? What scenarios, or are there certain people it shows up around? Make sure that you identify what that is, how you feel, what's the moment, the environment, things like that. Next, we're going to start to look at the root cause. Now, you may be like, I don't really know how to figure that out. It's like, well, just start brain dumping. Start writing out things that you think could cause it. What are some ideas and things that just your brain gets caught up on? Because oftentimes, that's all it is. We just have some head garbage we need to work through. So find the root cause. Start by playing back the game film a little bit and saying, well, how did it actually develop? When did I notice it first? Like, when did it start to show up? How is it showing up? And maybe how has it gotten better or worse over time? Because I know I've had some fears that just ramp up on top of itself over time. So how has it developed? See if you can tie that back to some sort of a specific experience or a belief of some kind that happened to you. Fear doesn't just come from nowhere. There's usually something that has happened, a place, a situation, a thing, a belief that got us to start thinking that way. So play back that game film a little bit. Start to think to yourself, oh my gosh, what could this thing have been? Okay? Now, the next piece, you have to actually start flushing out some ideas of things that maybe you could try that are different ways of looking at it. So if I look at maybe where it started or how it starts to show up, how do I maybe put myself in different situations or show up differently? How do I prepare the room or the person that as I'm going to be doing this thing, they're showing up in a way that I don't have the fear show up as much? What are tactics? What are things that I could do? And there's all sorts of stuff. Like I said, I'm no expert on this. I'm sure you could go online and find all sorts of ways to overcome fears, okay? I think, though, you need to take that and look at it as small steps that help you to change your mindset and help you to put you past those fears. Now, that actionable strategies that you have to have, yeah, it's going to make you have to step out of that comfort zone. But that's part of developing and growing as a giver and to become an impact maker. One of the best things I've found that helps is you do reflections and visualizations, which sounds woo-woo to some people, but honestly, if you take the time to say, well, here's what the fear is, what would need to be true? What would it look like for me to not have that fear in that situation? So you got to find that quiet place. You got to close your eyes. Whether you want to refer to it as meditation or you want to refer to it as some other piece. Now, you want to look at it and think to yourself, what would the positive reaction be? What's the positive outcome? How could I leave it feeling satisfied? How could I leave it feeling pride and accomplishment? What are the things that are going to cause that? Now, afterwards, you're going to want to reflect on those. You're going to go back and write down, like, okay, what did I actually visualize? What were the things I saw? How did it actually make you feel? What were the emotions you were feeling? And what was the positive outcome you saw? Because that can often be the thing that drives you past that fear. And then, of course, once you've done these types of things, find a support system. Find something that helps you work through these problems and work through these issues. So they could be people, friends, family, mentors, whatever it may be, that help talk you through what some of those could be. Now, over time, I always then go back to, all right, review it and reflect. And then guess what? A new fear will show up probably, because we're humans and that's how we work. So as it does, you just start back up at the top. Just go back through these steps again and again, and you'll find that slowly you work past these little fears. You take the baby steps past, and it helps you to start to continue to develop those gifts and talents to be superpowers, so that you are giving them and you are providing that value you want in every engagement. That way, your relationships improve, and the universe finds ways to pay you back for giving in such a way without asking for anything in return. Hopefully you found that helpful. If so, like and follow and share and all that type of stuff, of course. And we'll be continuing to produce more content around these types of topics of taking your gifts and skills and talents and making them superpowers, so that you can eventually provide that value to people and be true impact makers. If you want to join us for that journey, join us, like, subscribe, follow, whatever, all those things, and hopefully you have a great rest of your day.